Good evening. You're now with me, Shulch Maito, for TVS Nightline, and here are the headlines for tonight. Sarawak is thinking big and thinking global, with the region's move to establish a cutting-edge semiconductor lab in the United Kingdom signals a bold strategy to position Sarawak as a serious contender in the global tech arena. In crime, police have successfully crippled an organized crime group with the arrest of 17 individuals during an operation codenamed Op SPARROW, carried out across 4 states on September 11. On to world affairs, U.S. President Donald Trump said that recognition by a slate of Washington's allies of a Palestinian state was a quote-unquote reward to armed group Hamas for horrible atrocities. Let's begin. The decision to establish a semiconductor lab in the United Kingdom is a strategic move aimed at positioning Sarawak as a competitive player on the global stage. Sarawak Premier Dato' Peninggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunapeng said that research conducted in the UK will support the development of a semiconductor chip manufacturing plant, a foundry in Sarawak, in collaboration with industry partners Xfab and Melexis.
That is our ambition, because we want to become a global player, and we have to have collaboration with the other global players in order for you to level up the supply chain.
According to Abang Johari, the joint initiative began after an MOU was signed last year, which led to the establishment of the SMD Semiconductor Lab in Cardiff, adding that semiconductor chips play a critical role in various sectors, including healthcare, automotive, aerospace and green energy devices. Sarawakians must fully understand and comprehend their rights as outlined in MA 63. If they don't, the state's rights will be forgotten and eroded over time, said Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Dr. Sim Kui Hian. To prevent it from being transferred to the federal government as it did in the past, public awareness must be increased as MA 63 remains integral to the formation of Malaysia.
He further noted that previously, the restoration of rights and benefits under MA 63 was strongly advocated by Tun Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar during his tenure as the Minister in the Prime Minister's Department responsible for Parliament and Law in 2021.
A lot of people in Malaysia, they thought that how come we are so aggressive? We are not that we are aggressive, because we did not know our rights. We don't want to blame other people's hand. We did not know our rights for so many years, and now we know our rights, right? Now we want to exercise that rights, and that rights including our health autonomy, our education autonomy.
Meanwhile, when asked whether the Sarawak government plans to take over UNIMAS, Dr. Sim stated that this matter falls under the jurisdiction of the Minister of Education, Innovation and Talent Development, that is Sri Roland Sagahui in. However, he stated that Sarawak's effort to gain autonomy is complex, involving various legal and political issues.
This is very complex. As I was said, we have been illegally married for so long. And if any marriage, right, after 63 years, right, if you never quarrel, right, it's a fake marriage. How can you get married for 63 years and never quarrel? And impossible. A fake one, unless you married but never married lah. And so we are, whether we like it or not, these are quarrels, and the quarrels need to be resolved.
He said that fighting for autonomy in healthcare and education is one of the most challenging issues, given the broad implication it entails. However, he mentioned that this is a good start, allowing future generations to understand Sarawak's rights and prevent them from being forgotten.
The Cebu Municipal Council, MPS, has expressed concern over the rising number of dog bite cases in the town, which is increasingly putting the public at risk. MPS Chairman Clarence Ting stated that from January to August this year, a total of 538 bite cases were reported, involving 400 pet dogs and 138 stray dogs.
Then the outside the dog is 138. That means 20 a month. Okay, 20 plus a month. The 20 plus a month is like every 3 days you got 2 dog bites. This is actually terrible. I just want to say is anybody want to say anything about dogs? Because I think it's getting more and more.
Yes.
I hope SMC our dog team will continue to take action. But I think if without taking action against the house owner, the dog owner, is no use. The number seems to be increasing more and more.
He also stressed that dog owners must not allow their pets to roam freely. Instead, dogs should be leashed, registered, properly licensed, neutered and vaccinated against rabies to prevent the spread of the deadly disease. This call for action comes in the wake of a recent rabies-related death of a child in Bintulu, along with several other cases reported this year in Kuching, Bintulu and Cebu. Have successfully crippled an organized crime group with the arrest of 17 individuals during an operation codenamed Jack SPARROW, carried out across 4 states on September 11. Inspector General of Police Dr. Sri Muhammad Khalid Ismail said the syndicate is believed to have been active since 2023 and is linked to a series of violent crimes, including murder and arson. The arrests involve suspects aged between 19 and 44 and were carried out by the Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department, CID, in collaboration with contingents from Perak, Selangor, Negeri Sembilan and Penang.
Pada awal tahun 2025, kumpulan ini mencetuskan kebimbangan umum apabila rakaman serangan bersenjata api dan parang terhadap 2 lelaki di hadapan sebuah kedai di Taman Sentosa Kelang hingga membawa kepada kematian telah tular di media sosial. Insiden tersebut berpunca daripada perebutan kawasan dan perselisihan faham antara kumpulan.
Muhammad Khalid said further investigations revealed that the suspects collectively had 80 prior criminal records, including 34 drug-related cases.
Kita mencari 5 lagi target ataupun sasaran yang boleh membantu siasatan kita. 6 ya. Betul. Lagi 6 ya. Jadi sekarang ni ada 17 yang kita tangkap. Dan kita percaya keseluruhan kumpulan ini berjumlah lebih kurang 33 orang.
All the suspects were detained under the Security Offences Special Measures Act 2012, SOSMA, Section 130V of the Penal Code, for involvement in an organised crime group, as well as the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001. Police has refuted claims that Malaysia is functioning as a base for Hamas activities, following recent remarks by a former U.S. terrorism finance analyst, Jonathan Scanzer. The response comes after Scanzer, a former analyst with the U.S. Department of Treasury, alleged via social media that Malaysia was enabling Hamas operations and that Prime Minister Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim was uninterested in peace between Palestine and Israel. Inspector General of Police Dr. Sri Muhammad Khalid Ismail clarified that while Malaysia remains sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, a sentiment widely shared among its Muslim-majority population that should not be misconstrued as support for extremist groups. He reiterated that Malaysia maintains diplomatic relations with the US and other international partners. Noting further, Khalid said many foreign nationals from conflict-affected countries are in Malaysia for education and humanitarian reasons. However, their presence, the police stated, should not be misrepresented. Muhammad Khalid also stressed his ongoing cooperation with international law enforcement agencies to safeguard national security. This includes intelligence sharing and coordinated efforts to prevent any potential threats. Meanwhile, Malaysia's border security, including at key entry points, remains at an optimal level due to strong inter-agency collaboration among the Immigration Department, Customs, and the Border Control and Protection Agency. U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday said that recognition by a slate of Washington's allies of a Palestinian state was a quote-unquote reward to armed group Hamas for horrible atrocities. In a speech to UN General Assembly, this would be a reward for Hamas's horrible atrocities, according to him, including October 7, even while they refused to release the hostages or accept a ceasefire.
We can't forget October 7th, can we? Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities. This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities, including October 7th, even while they refuse to release the hostages or accept a ceasefire.
Meanwhile, on immigrants, Trump said countries that welcomed immigrants are destroying their countries, pointing directly towards European countries. Addressing them as aliens, he bragged for the past 4 months, the number of illegal aliens admitted and entering the U.S. has been zero.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States.
According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, nationwide apprehensions at border crossings dropped from about 60,000 in August 2024 to roughly 8,200 in July 2025. Meanwhile, Japan's Prime Minister told the UN on Tuesday that Tokyo's recognition of the State of Palestine was only a question of time, saying he was indignant at recent comments by Israeli officials. While nearly 80% of UN members recognize the State of Palestine, with a string of countries, including Britain, Canada and France, adding their names this week after nearly 2 years of conflict in Gaza. Since October 7th, the date that US and Israel are too fixated on when conflict took place in Palestine, the Zionist regime has killed 65,382 people, mostly civilians. Japan, a member of the G7, is a close ally of the United States and hosts some 54,000 US military personnel. Fierce winds, pounding rain and rough seas battered southern China on Wednesday as powerful typhoon Rogasa made landfall in Guangdong province after killing at least 17 in Taiwan. The typhoon had hours earlier swept past Hong Kong, with the densely populated cities weather service ranking the storm the strongest yet in the northwestern Pacific this year. According to regional officials, Rogasa's passage in Taiwan killed also injured 18 others when a decades-old barrier lake burst in eastern Hualien County under the storm's heavy rains. Authorities earlier said 152 people were unaccounted for, but later revised that figure down to 17, saying they had made contact with more than 100 of those previously deemed missing. More than 7,600 people were evacuated due to Gaza, and footage released by the fire agency showed flooded streets, half-submerged cars and uprooted trees. And those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Shulshmerto. Thank you for watching and have a good night.